live, unlike the last time I did something, and then I literally had to run back on because I left everyone there. But hello, everybody. I am Sarah. Welcome to my channel. Today is our very first live show for the Confused Queens Book Club, and it is for Every Summer After by Carley Fortune, which was our August pick. So I have my two lovely, beautiful, amazing co-hosts with me. If you guys want to introduce yourself and your channels.
Go ahead, Nikki. Go first. I'm on the bottom. Okay. My name's Tori. I'm from the channel Tori Between Pages. Nikki just muted herself, but she's Nikki from Nikki Lopez. She's amazing.
Oh no, she's looking confused. Nikki, are you good?
We can hear you.
Yeah, I think there might be technical difficulties.
Something's happening with my mic.
We can hear you fine though. Oh, you can't hear?
Disaster. This was working fine 2 seconds ago.
That's okay. Well,
let me give me one moment to get my headset.
Okay.
If you guys want to follow these lovely ladies, I have them linked in the description as well as our Discord. So you guys can join our Discord, hang out and talk to us.
I'm posting on Instagram.
Pause for a little pick moment.
Yeah.
All right, and I will post on the Discord as well. Oh, wait, I already did. JK. I posted on it 15 minutes ago.
Hello.
So we will just...
Sorry about that. I was having problems with my...
That's okay. I know. It was like so confusing because we were like, wait, but we can hear you fine.
I know. I couldn't hear you guys. I'm sorry. My name's Nikki. I'm from Nikki Lopez. That's my channel. And I make booktube content, authortube content, and live streams often. But I've just been busy. Okay.
Yay.
Sorry about that.
We're fine. So we will give it a sec for some people to trickle in. But I'm very excited because we have very differing opinions.
You know, I think that though they are different, they're not like, I think that we're all on the same wavelength, though, which is weird.
Yeah, they're not drastic changes. I think for the most part, every issue, I feel like that one of us has, like the other can kind of like see it.
Understand.
You know? For sure.
Yeah.
All right. How long should we give it?
A couple minutes. Perfect. Have you guys started the September book yet?
I have. Wait, you have not? Or you have?
No,
I haven't either. I was curious.
I'm scared.
I have, and I'm actually liking it, but I definitely think that like it's not what I expected at all. Like, it's a pure fantasy. Like, I don't think it's as much romance as anything else.
Oh, really? I didn't think it was a romance, a fantasy romance.
I don't know why I thought it was a fantasy romance.
Oh.
No, I just thought it was like dark academia, but like I didn't know it was so like heavily fantasy. Like I honestly thought it was more dark academia.
From what
I will say,
we're talking about the Atlas 6, by the way.
Our September pick, the Atlas 6.
From what I've heard, it's like the first book is a lot of setup because it's 5 magicians who are like trying to become guardians of the Library of Alexandria, which like is a vibe. But yeah, I've heard it's a lot of setup for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I just feel like it's gonna take a lot of brain power for me to read it. So I feel like when I decide to read it, I kind of want it to be like that's the only thing I'm reading, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like honestly, it's very interesting. Like I was explaining it to my mom because my mom, I've been making her read our book club picks. I was explaining to her. My dad was like, "Wait, is this a movie?" And he was, and I was like, "No." And he was like, "Are they gonna make it a movie?" Because he doesn't read, like he doesn't like to read for fun. He's like, "It sounds really interesting. Get them to make it a movie." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll get it."
Like, okay, how am I supposed to do that? I'm dead. That is so funny. How did your mom like Every Summer After? Was she a fan?
She did. So like she comes from the place of being an author, so she doesn't like to like put out her opinion on the internet. But I'll put it out there. She didn't like it either. She did not like it. Like I think she just didn't like how I think she didn't like the payoff at the end, and like I think she likes second chance romance because her first book is a second chance romance, but oh no, her second book is a second chance romance, but she was like, she's also like me, she's a Capricorn, so she's like, this was pathetic.
I'm dead. That is so funny. Okay, you know what, I can see it.
Yeah.
All right, are we thinking it's been like 6 minutes? Are we thinking we should start? Give it another sec.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So we can go ahead and first get started on our star ratings and I guess like our overall thoughts. And also for those of you guys watching, if you want to put in the chat as well.
What you thought.
Yeah, any of your thoughts, any of your opinions, how you felt about this book at all. Let us know. So let's start with Nikki. We can start with Nikki.
Oh boy.
Let's just start off with the bang, Nikki.
Okay, so I gave this book like a 2-star rating. It was definitely a book that I would have DNF'd because I just don't like reading books that I know I'm going to give a bad rating from the beginning. But because of this book club, I stuck through it and I finished it. I listened to the audiobook as well. My big problems with it was not so much it was also the characters and how I found that they were very like infantile and just like, it's like they never grew out of being a teenager with like that teenage angst and that teenage inability to like communicate effectively. But it was also just like the amount of time that had passed between these two characters and how neither of them could get their life together enough, or at least like have the cojones to admit like I did something wrong, and like I own up to that. And I think that like for me, that's something that like I felt like Percy never had that sort of accountability that I would have liked to see from her. And then like especially like at the end, the payoff was like super weak because like he knew the entire 13 years what had happened. So it was just like, are you fucking serious? Like she was like being eaten up alive, and this could have been, if he was so like after her and so obsessed with her, he could have easily been like, listen, like I know what happened, but also she should have had the like the balls and like the bravery to be like, I fucked up big time. And yeah, like, I think this could have been avoided.
Perfect.
But then there wouldn't have been a book, Nikki, you know?
It's true. Like, this is why we have a book.
Not exist.
This is why we have a book. But those are my, like, opinions in a nutshell on this book.
Amazing. Tori?
I gave it a 3-star. And, okay, for me, the first half of the book was like 5-star. I loved it. I loved the first half of the book. The second half of the book, I was like 1-star. I didn't like the ending. Like I didn't like what was happening when they were older, and it just felt like 2 different books. Like it was just a really weird experience for me. But I loved Percy. I thought that she was very relatable. I was like, this was literally me when I was a teenager. So I really liked her, but I didn't like Sam. And then I also really liked Sue. Was that their mom's name?
Yeah.
I loved Sue and her character. I also loved the setting of it. I thought that she did a really good job. Carly Fortune did a really good job. I mean, you kind of said, Nikki, that they were like infantile. Like, I disagree. I think that she captured young love really, really well because you're so immature. You don't know how to communicate at that point. Like, they're so awkward and like butterflies and like seeing.
I agree with that.
Like,
I agree with that.
Like, stuff like that. I thought that she did a really good job capturing all of that, but I don't think she captured how love and how people mature.
That was a better way to say it. That's what I felt. And it was very frustrating because you'd see it in like the later chapters, like in the present chapters versus the later ones. She was still the same Percy.
Yeah. Also, hi Alva, thanks for joining.
Yes, hello. Hello. Let us know if you read this book, what your thoughts are. And then, hello, Nikki's mom. How are you?
Mom.
Hello.
She already spoiled and said that you did not like the book. Yeah, so I liked it better than both Nikki and Tori. I gave it a 4-star. I think that's probably why too. I've read a book very similar to this, and I love second chance romance. Like, that's one of my favorite tropes. I just think it's like so nice and angsty and just like really sweet and cute. I mean, obviously there were things that, like, I agree. I think present day Percy was not my favorite. I think the present day chapters were not really it for me. Like, all of my butterflies and all like the really like, oh, I love this was in all the past chapters of like Percy and Sam falling in love and everything. But I agree. I thought Percy was like really relatable, especially because I am someone who does not like confrontation. So I would be someone like her where I would be like terrified to speak to someone again, because I'm like, especially because in the book she mentions that she did try to talk to him for like months, I think, or maybe
she writes him emails
and he ignored. So like, I feel like I'd be the same way too. Like, if I tried to reach out and they were ignoring my emails, I would be like, okay, you clearly don't want to talk to me. So, you know, but yeah, I just overall thought it was like cute. I didn't think it was like as amazing as I feel like everybody else did. Like, I think it was super hyped, and like, I think it was a good book. Like, I think it was fine, but I don't think necessarily that it like deserved all the hype that it's been getting, because like they're making it seem like it's like this, like the best book like that they've ever read, the best romance they've ever read. And I felt like it was like a cute romance, but it wasn't like phenomenal, you know?
Yeah.
Sarah, you had mentioned that like you, like, looking back, you didn't like it as much as like when you were reading it. Would you change your rating? Because I know you gave it a 4-star, but at this point,
yeah, I don't think I would change my rating. Like, if I changed it, it would be like a 3.75. You know, like it was like very little bit. I think like when you mentioned that the second half of the book wasn't as strong, like I definitely agree. I think like even like writing style wise, I felt like there was so much momentum in the first half that the second half kind of dwindled down. But it wasn't for me like how you were like second half was 1-star. I just think I liked it a little bit less, you know? And then I just feel like I also agree like with Nikki, like I don't think Sam was that, or no, Tori, you said you didn't like Sam. I don't think Sam was that strong of like a male love interest.
Like, I think it would have been better if she ended up with Charlie.
Yeah, same.
No. I hate Charlie.
Also, Kylie,
yes,
mother,
your mom said excellent. I'm assuming because you are.
And then she was just saying that, he ignored her. Like, I remember she was sending him emails, and eventually she just stopped sending him emails, and like he never answers.
Yeah. And he mentions that it's because he did know about the whole Carly situation, which, like, that's a whole nother thing as well.
I need to just explain, like, I hated Sam because the whole time he was just like not making a move, and she was like blatantly being like, yeah, I like someone else, and he would be like,
that was horrible.
Okay. And I'm like, what are you doing? So I liked Charlie because Charlie was like, what are you doing? Like, like reciprocate, because like, what are you doing? You guys have literally been talking for like 3 years at this point, like 3 summers, and she's telling you that she likes you. And then I literally highlighted or like underlined on page 124 when he was like, that's not true, and for the record, I do care. But it was like New Year's Eve. It was New Year's Eve, and he didn't make a move, and she was like, I want this to be like our New Year's kiss, and he just didn't do anything. And I was like chucking my book across the room. I was like, I'm so done with this boy.
I think like they tried to make him very like shy boy, but I think the issue with that is that when you make these very like shy boy, cinnamon roll, soft boy characters, there has to be moments where they have that confidence to like do that, and then that's what makes them hot. You know what I mean? Because they're like shy boy, soft boy, really sensitive, but then like, oh my god, but like she make a move, and like she didn't do that. Really quickly going back to this comment, I hated the fact that she couldn't move on and all her relationships were stilted due to this one thing. I definitely agree as well. I think it was like too stilted. Like I think it would make sense if it was like no relationship compared. She always kind of had him in the back of her mind. But the fact that she like purposely
she gave up all her writing, she gave up all of her horror movies, she gave up everything that she loved because it reminded him of her, like of him. And then like she could not open up to anyone else, even a friend, like, which was weird. Which we haven't even gotten into Delilah, who was like the real victim here.
I was gonna say, I feel like we need to talk about her for sure. And then yes, I agree, he didn't move their relationship forward 100%. It was all Percy putting in the weight. And then even then also too, like she clearly just has like very big like insecurities, and like I don't know if it's because of like her being bullied when she was by Delilah, like when she was in like middle school, and like they had that kind of issue. I was just very confused as to like why she was so insecure, you know, like because that clearly like came into play with her relationship with Sam in the past, and then I think that made it even worse in the present moment, and how she
Do you think it's just like the insecurity of just being a teenager?
I feel like it would have been if it was only in the past chapters. I think because even like when I was reading through,
but she was apparently beautiful because every man there was falling in love with her.
Exactly. They made it clear she was beautiful. I think she just wasn't, not even like her outward appearance. I think she just like really did not like herself. Like I think she just didn't think that she was like worthy of
like
anybody.
Think about when you were 13 and like she was getting bullied by like her main friend group. Like literally her main friend group was like, you are weird for liking what you like. Like, why would you like this horror movie? Whatever. And then they like just.
But honestly though, like a year later,
this crush who she like was obsessed with and was like trying to move forward was like giving her the
But I will say though, like a year later, she becomes friends with Delilah again, and Delilah becomes like the only person other than Sam that she shares her horror stories with. And sure, Delilah's advice is like add more sex because apparently Delilah is like one-track mind here. But like Delilah obviously accepted her as she was eventually. Like so, that's where like there's a bit of dissonance in my mind.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree. I think the whole bullying thing, like it makes sense, and that's why the whole like insecurity thing didn't really bother me until the second half of the book, because the first half it makes sense. When you're 13, 14 years old, like you're going to be insecure. Like you said, Sam is not really giving her anything. She wasn't friends with Delilah. Like, so like she really didn't have anybody. And so I think that that's fine. But I think once you get to the point, especially like that, like because everyone was falling in love with her. She had, what's his name? Mason.
Yeah, the guy, Mason.
Yeah, this boyfriend that she was like dragging along that she didn't like. Charlie was obsessed with her. Like, obviously you don't have to get like, it's not as simple as just getting your worthiness from other people. Like you obviously have to like believe in it yourself as well. But I just think it was just a lot. And I think that's what drove, and that was like the thing that made her act in the way that she did like throughout the entire story. And I just thought that was like very interesting. So I was like, wow.
Yeah, she like got into this period of just self-sabotaging. Like after hooking up with Charlie, also, then it was like she felt like she didn't she felt like she didn't deserve love, and so like she didn't deserve Sam, and then she self-sabotaged every other like relationship from there on out. And then she also sabotaged her relationship with Delilah when she was like, when Delilah was with her, and she was like, you're a slut, and I was like, sis.
That okay, let's move into a Delilah conversation.
Wait, before we do that, I just want to add there that the cinnamon roll works.
Oh yes.
When he becomes an alpha at the moment that counts.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Just any bit of like confidence, any bit of like I am here for you, you know, like in that
Yeah.
assurance. And especially a character like Percy who needs that reassurance constantly, clearly. Like, I just think he could have done that, and then that could have made their relationship a lot stronger.
Yeah.
The problem was that Sam's arc was not worked out. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I feel like he didn't even have a full arc. Like,
No,
it
he
was
didn't. Because especially
so
since he just dumped
linear.
the girl that he was dating for 2 years. Like, the
Yeah.
minute that Percy's back in the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They dry humped for a little bit, and he was like, "All right, I'm yours."
I'm a new man.
Yeah, I
couldn't tell. Did they just dry hump or did they have
Yeah, they just dry humped. That was it. And I was like, I mean, listen, you guys, they didn't get to dry hump when they were 15. So they had to do it now.
No, they didn't. No, they never. Oh, they dry hump. They didn't have sex.
They didn't have
when
sex.
They were 15, I thought that they just like made out.
No, he like fingered her and stuff.
Oh yeah, see, but that's not dry humping, you guys.
No, yeah.
He had none. Yeah, he had no arc at all. And I think that's one of the things too. Like, I did like this book because I thought it was cute, and like there was really cute moments, like I said, like when what's it called? Like in the past. But I think that was the big thing, is like for it to be that big of a gap as well, 13 years, and for them to still be like so clearly obsessed with each other.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Like, I would have thought that like their relationship would have been way stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
like,
it's literally like, I literally think of that TikTok song of like, oh, it's mental illness.
it just to me was like not strong. Like, I feel like it should have been a 5-year gap, 6-year gap. Yeah. 13 years is way too long.
Yeah.
That's similar to Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. Okay, I will stand by though. I think that book is better than Every Summer After. And I think that was
my mom loves Christina Lauren. She's literally read all of them.
Yeah, no. So Love and Other Words was basically this exact same book, but just, well, no, this book was the same one as Love and Other Words because that one came first. Mm-hmm. But I personally think Love and Other Words was like significantly better. And I think that's something that like was kind of difficult. Like I knew from the beginning that this book could not be 5 stars for me because I was like, it's too similar. Yeah. And everything that's similar with it, I was like, I prefer Love and Other Words. So I just like knew it couldn't be a 5-star, but yeah. But let's get into love it. Absolutely. Let's get into Delilah and that whole friendship, her role in this book. Overall, did you guys like Delilah as a character? Were you kind of like neutral about her? Like, what was your feelings on that?
I didn't know how I felt about her at first, but when she was going through her little hoe phase during their teenage years, I was like,
queen.
I literally, like, I think like my Delilah was definitely like at first I was like, oh, she's just like a teenage bully. But I loved how she like literally told Percy, like, you can't put your career in hold for no man, even though this girl was like so obsessed with boys. And I do feel like she was a real one. Like, I feel like she had her moments, but I feel like everyone who's that age has their moments when they're like boy crazy and when they're just like, oh my God, like but like I feel like at the end, like who really fucked up there was Percy, and like I really thought that Delilah was so cool for like being able to reach out, like when Percy reached out to apologize, like to be like, yeah, like I was waiting for you to say something all the time. So I feel like she was just so, I think she was so sure of herself, and that really highlighted how insecure Percy was, you know?
Yeah. Definitely. I agree. I was very hesitant at first, like when they became friends again. And then of course she was like made out to be this very like promiscuous, boy crazy kind of girl. I was just nervous that I was like, great, it's going to be one of those tropes where it's this slutty friend who's going to try to steal Sam. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was going to be that. And
but I like how she was only ever into Charlie.
Yes, I was going to say, but I felt like very quickly, I was like, okay, no, she's just like the fun friend that makes Percy kind of come out of her comfort zone and makes Percy like, you know, kind of step up and be like, yeah, you like this guy, like whatever. So I did end up liking her. And yeah, I just thought that whole argument was just absolutely ridiculous. And I did not see the point of why Percy lashed out.
Well, like it's just like it's like to show how like she very much isolated herself and like has not been able to make a normal relationship with absolutely any human being since Sam.
Like, no, 100%. Yeah, I mean, and that's why I guess like it is important to show like in like that I forgot her new friend. What's her friend now? Her present day friend? I forget her name. Chantal?
Chantal, yeah.
Chantal?
Who like doesn't even come up on camera. Like or
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
She's just like not camera, but scene. She's like literally just like an annoying thing being like
yeah, and I just felt like I just didn't really see the point in her. And then also like the fact that they had already been friends for like a few years and she was like, oh, I finally told her about what happened between me and Sam. And I'm like, why is that not something that you talk about on like a first wine drunk night? Like,
okay,
like,
but that's
let me
like
tell you about this.
that's like trauma dumping someone.
Okay,
Maybe
but
like
that's
second wine night.
Sorry, is that
night.
not the backbone of every friendship? My bad.
Literally.
But yeah, I feel like justice for Delilah. She should have been there the whole way through, honestly.
Oh, my mom is giving us like her like writing like you know how when I was with Tori, I asked her like if she ever wanted to write, and she told me no, because if she ever wrote, then she'd be analyzing every book like with the structures that she knows, like my mom does now. Chantal's role is the mentor from the Save the Cat like screenplay guide. I think like Chantal's role was just to like put Percy kind of like things in perspective for her.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But I mean, I just think all this boils down to is that Percy is just horrible at maintaining any normal relationship.
Not a good friend, and she's clearly not a great girlfriend either.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, I think also like that's something that I wish the reunion between Sam and Percy was like a little bit longer and a bit more like fleshed out, because I just felt like it happened so quickly and it was like so much angst in those present day chapters throughout the entire book, and then the last like 100 pages or like 50 pages everything happens all at once, and then they talk and then they dry hump and then they're together, and you know, and it's just like whoa. And I think that makes it a little bit more like, well, you could have just had a conversation, because clearly you just had a conversation 13 years later and you're fine. You could have had a conversation before. I felt like it would have been a little bit better if there was more time for them to be talking and trying to like work things out and be like, will they, won't they, you know, like that type of thing. That kind of like tension wasn't there, and it was just like, okay, well, I guess they're together now, you know?
Yeah.
It felt very rushed for me. Like she went back and she was like, okay, I'm going to be there for 3 days and my mission is to like get Sam back. And then immediately it was just like.
She had like, I don't know. I just felt like that the present timeline wasn't as fleshed out as the beginning timeline, even though like the same amount of pages was dedicated to it.
Yeah. I definitely agree.
Like, I don't know, like, if it was, like, because it was such a short, like, it was literally, like, 3-4 days in the present.
Yeah.
But, it was just, like, a lot. So, okay, now I have a question for you about Charlie. So, like, do you find, Charlie's, like, this antagonist throughout the book. Do you consider him to be the bad guy? Or was he just, like, kind of, like, what, like, Sam and Percy kind of used to scapegoat their problems?
I think he was the catalyst to their entire relationship. He was the one who knocked on the door and was like, hey, I'm Charlie, this is my brother. My friends,
I want to have a party.
Yeah, my friends are overnight, so he's going to hang out with you. Like, he was the catalyst to the entire thing. And then he had to serve as that person to push Sam to actually be like, like her. Like, what are you even doing? I just thought it was weird. I thought it was weird that the brothers were like in competition almost over Percy. Like, then it was weird when Charlie was like hitting on Percy and then Sam just didn't do anything. I was like, he's doing it to try to get Sam to like take ownership. I mean, that's kind of a weird way to say it, but like take ownership
of at least his feelings, you know, for Percy.
Of his feelings. And it just didn't work that way. And then it was just weird.
Yeah. And then at the end, he was the one pushing them together again. Like, it seemed like he liked her, but it wasn't like, I guess, like, it wasn't enough, or like he was able to move on healthily. Like, I don't know.
I have a feeling it was something where like he was flirting with her and, you know, kissed her with spin the bottle and like did all that stuff to kind of light a fire up Sam's ass. And then I feel like but I think the more that Sam was not jumping on those moments and the more that Sam was just sitting back and letting it happen, I feel like the more that Charlie started to actually like Percy.
Yeah.
My big thing though, and I don't know if it's just because maybe their family dynamic is different. I am very close with my sister, and if like my sister, like if either of us ever did that, like absolutely not. Like that would just simply never happen.
Yeah.
That's the thing that really upset me is that I was like, okay, gross. Like I was just like, that's very
gross.
disrespectful.
It's gross to make like a love triangle between siblings.
Yeah, and like, and especially because it's just like so clearly Sam and Percy. Like, you know, it wasn't even like a love triangle. Like I watched the first episode of that Summer I Turned Pretty, where like at least that one, it's like kind of push and pull both ways throughout. I think the whole thing, but it's like it's so clearly Sam and Percy, Sam and Percy, Sam and Percy, Sam and Percy, that it's like all of a sudden Charlie's like, hey, and then Sam isn't there because he's being an asshole in early college program, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're flirting and they're hanging out, and now it's a romantic thing between them. Like I just think that that's really like that was really gross to me, and that's the only reason why I don't really like Charlie. I think if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have minded him like from flirting and stuff. I think it added like an interesting dynamic, but I just like it upset me that was the reason.
It was her first kiss and her first time, and it was
where
are you at?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, it was, I don't know, it was just...
that was the moment in the book where like that, and then also what happens after with Sam when he like comes home from his like early college program or whatever and just like proposes to her. Those two plot points, I was like, I'm lost with this book at this point. Like it was good up until this. Like this was just...
It was just like so like the guy spends the entire time pushing her away, like not being able to own up for his feelings, and then he's like, okay, no, let's get married.
Yeah. I think that was just so random.
It was so
like random. It didn't, there was no build up to it. Like it didn't make sense. It wasn't like he was begging for her forgiveness because, you know, whatever drama happened when he was at a party and lied to her. Like it wasn't like they were like blossoming again really good, and then, you know, around what was it, Christmas or Thanksgiving or something, he was like, oh, I'm gonna propose. Like it just didn't make sense. It was just so out of the blue. And it's like, especially when you've been fighting and you've been like having this space for you to propose, just like did not make any sense. And it didn't make sense for his shy character. It's like you're making him just super shy, super like sits in the back, kind of like keeps to himself, like doesn't really make any big moves. But then, like, he's going to propose to her. Like, it didn't.
It made no sense. Like, especially when he went to that program and then he basically, like, cuts her off. And they were so used to being more of that, like, long-distance relationship because they only were together during the summers. And then he was like, oh, but I'm going to go to this early program and literally just cut you out of my life. Like, I was like, so who is this person? Like, this isn't even the same Sam. And then he was like, oh, well, I'm going to propose to her and it's going to fix all of our problems. It's like...
Yeah, I just feel like that moment of conflict was just like, it didn't feel fleshed out. Like,
yeah.
Well, I feel like this book seemed to me like, because I think like the cute moments between like Percy and Sam and their relationship growing, that's what made me give it the 4-star. Like I really loved those moments and I thought they were super cute. They were very genuine when it was just them two, and they were like friends to lovers is also one of my favorite tropes. So it's like these are two of my favorite tropes ever in a book. So like I really enjoyed that, but it seemed to me that like Carly Fortune was really focused on the blossoming romance of it all and not too much like on the actual second chance romance. Like what's going to be the conflict? Like how are they going to, what's something bad enough to make them not speak for years, but not bad enough that they would not ever get back together type of thing.
And like personally for me, like, the fact that she slept with his brother, for me, that's something that's like bad enough that they should never have gotten back together. That, like that's
1,000,000%.
freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's his brother. His brother.
Well, and it's full on sleeping together like that too. It wasn't even like
A
and
kiss.
And I was like, they're not even drunk. Like they're not even like
Yeah, they
out of
just
their mind.
did it.
Horrible
They just did
wake
it.
up the next morning mistake. Like this was like there was intention behind that, and like
No.
as much as whatever excuses she gave like for why she did it, like it just like that would never fly ever. Like that would be
Ever
like, you're
in the
dead
life.
to me, don't ever speak to me again. Like
Yeah.
It's like I just think that that's crazy, and like that, like I don't think their relationship was strong enough for them to come back after something like that.
Same. And what did you guys think about what did you guys think about the way that Sam dealt with Percy and Charlie, like when he was at college and he was just like boozing and sleeping with everyone?
Again, I just think it was like poor characterization of Sam. I just think like I think it makes sense like if you're in a new space and like you're very upset and like all this stuff, like, it makes sense to like go and party and do whatever. But I think to the extent like it's like that man had no friends.
Yeah, and it also like made no sense that at the end of the day, like he never answered her emails. Like for me, that was the least believable thing ever, because he was even like conscientious enough to like email her when he was having a hard time at school and be like, I need some space. So it's just like it didn't fit with his characterization, even when he came out of that, to like not like be like, okay, I know what happened, and like I just need my space, whatever. But then we wouldn't have a book.
It made no sense to me. I was like, you're telling me that this boy who was so scared because his dad had like such an early heart attack, you're telling me that this boy who's worried about his heart is going to go booze every single night and get blackout and throw up all over himself and sleep with everyone? In what world? How is this character? It made zero.
Well, I just think he was like on his like self-destructive path because he felt like so like
betrayed.
And who does that for 4 years? Like maybe a weekend, like
Yeah.
relax.
Wait, I thought it was like a year. I didn't know it was 4 years. Really?
I thought it was all when he was in college.
I was gonna say I think they like made it seem like it was all throughout college. Like
how did he get into medical school?
I don't know, but I don't know. But yes,
can't relate.
It was
revenge sex, yeah,
for sure. But I mean, even that too, it's like revenge sex, but like it wasn't even enough for it to be like it's just not
like
that
the crime did not fit the punishment.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. I think Sam's character was like 10 different people throughout the book. Like it just felt like a new person every single time. And I think to make like a situation like this work, like I think the fact that he knew about it and like that's why he was ignoring her, that's fine. But like if this is someone, like I think for me it makes more sense why Percy was so affected and why Percy didn't reach out, because she was the one who messed up. But like for Sam, I'm like, if you guys,
but she didn't even own up to it, and I think that's like my problem. Like if you're gonna mess up to this degree and you don't even own up to it, like I don't know.
I mean, I guess her owning up to it was like at the end where she like
explains it,
and she still gets the guy. What?
That scene was really weird too, when they were like about to have sex. And
no, they had it. They did it, right?
No, they were in it, and they were naked. And she was like, "I have to tell you something."
No, it was after.
No, after.
It was
they
after.
They literally do it.
Oh, did they do it? Oh, okay.
And then
I thought it was like right before, and she was like, "No, but I have to tell you something." And then he like ran naked around the house after her.
I understood that, like what I understood of that scene, because also like it was kind of weirdly written. But like I understood that like literally they climaxed and then she was like, I slept with your brother.
Yeah, no, literally.
Oh my god.
I literally think that's what happened.
It's what happened. Like I don't have my book with me because I had to ship it from Boston, but like I'm like 100% sure that's how it happened.
Wait,
like, and I remember being so disorienting.
I'm finding it.
Oh my god.
Oh wait, hold on. Honestly, I was skimming their sex scenes because after that dry humping, it was cringe.
I wish I had my book with
She
me.
says, after we lie on the floor facing each other, the early evening sun glowing golden, blah, blah, blah. And then it says, I love you, he whispers. I don't think I ever stopped, but I barely hear what he says because at the same time, the words I should have said 12 years ago bubble up my throat and out of my mouth. And I put R&R, I'm stressed.
Wait, Alva's message, that was pillow talk.
That was the pillow talk. She's like, wow, I feel so close to you. So I also fucked your brother.
Oh my God.
Literally, that was the pillow talk. Yeah.
But then I didn't understand his reaction. Like, if he knew the whole time, why did he get
so mad?
So angry.
Yeah.
And he was being so.
Well, you know, he says it's like hearing it for the first time again.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah,
he really had this for 13. Again, if it was like 5 years or like 3 years, I would understand it. He knew for 13 years.
Yeah, he had time to like process
like,
that information.
Yeah, like absolutely not. I was like, this seems a little bit dramatic.
Yeah. I mean, and I feel like that's why it was just done for dramatic, like for drama's sake, you know? Like to have like, this big
how was it? Yeah, when he was like, how was it? He asked in a voice solo. I think I must have misheard him. What? You fucked Charlie. I asked you how it was. It's venomous and so on, like Sam, that I flinched. And I was like, why? You knew about this. Like, what?
Yeah. I was like, ew. Don't be a dick. I feel like I fucked your brother. Don't be mean. You're like, whoa, I'm being open and honest with you. Why are you being mean to me? No, but I mean, it's just weird behavior all around. Like, I think that's the best way.
It was
to,
odd.
Like,
it was odd. Like
it's weird behavior.
Sam, Percy. Yeah. Oh, I feel like honestly, the only well-adjusted person in that room was Delilah, who like actually went through all stages of puberty and growth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Who would have thought? Listen.
Well, hey, I liked Sue. Sue is my favorite character.
Oh yeah, I like Sue a lot.
Yeah, I liked Sue as well. I thought
I also like how she was like it was like suggested that she had like a relationship with the cook.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, yes, I loved that. That was so sweet. That was really cute.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on Percy's parents' role in the story, or lack thereof? Because they were literally
none.
Yeah, they were non-existent. I didn't even know if they were alive at the end of the book. Like,
I mean, you know what? I feel like that kind of probably plays into why she's so insecure. I feel like she was like very neglected by her parents just because they were so like, weren't they both like professors or something? I feel like they were so into their career that like they didn't really ever pay attention to her, and she didn't have any siblings or anything like that. So I kind of feel like that's why she like was so isolated and why she was so kind of like insecure in that way, and that type of thing. I feel like that could have played a part in it. Yeah, the parents were like very whatever to me. I was like, you're weird.
But I thought it was weird that like when Sam first started coming over, her parents would be like checking on them when they were like in the room. And she was like, I think the first time that they slept over, like her parents weren't at the cabin with her, but she was like, I know my parents like wouldn't approve of this. She didn't make it seem like they were super neglectful, but then their role in the book, they weren't even there. And then she was like the only parent in the book. And I was like, okay, the math's not mathing. Like I don't understand.
I thought Sue was so responsible. No, they mentioned the fact that the mom like packed condoms in her bag.
Yeah. But like
that's it.
Yeah. What?
She's like, be safe.
Yeah, I just honestly I didn't really have that much of an opinion on the parents because like the parents like were so not integral.
Like I forget that they were a character.
Yeah, no, me too. I literally forget. But I loved Sue. Sue was an icon.
She was so cute. She was such a good mom.
Yeah, she was. She was really great.
I loved when she was like, "Don't take shit for my sons." Like honestly, just don't.
Like my sons are not shit. Which like, period.
Yeah,
I definitely agree. I did want to ask because this book was only in the POV of Percy, like the entire time throughout. How would you guys have felt if it was like dual POV? Like, is that something you think you would have like enjoyed the story better? Are you like fine with the POV that it was throughout?
I think it would have. Two things. I think it would have been confusing with the setup of the book because it flipped between past and present, and then also having dual POV would have been a little bit too much. However, I think if Carly Fortune did do Sam's POV, he actually would have been a stronger character because she would have had to like think through some of the stuff a little bit more.
Yeah.
So like I do think I would have liked it better, but the structure of the story would have had to have been different, I think.
Yeah, it would have been too confusing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think with
I feel like it would have had to be like, do you guys ever read Looking for Alaska? Where like they kind of like there's like a moment in the book where it's like before the like what happened and after what happened. I feel like it would have to have been that kind of sort of structure.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Yeah, no, I feel like I agree. Like I think it would have been confusing, but yeah, I think for especially the way that this story is and like the plot of this, I feel like it would have actually made Sam a better character.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Character. Yeah. Totally.
And like maybe it would have made us root for them a little bit more.
Instead of us rooting for Charlie and Percy.
Well, because Sam was doing absolutely nothing.
I liked her other boyfriend. Was it his name Mason?
Mason, yeah.
Yeah, he was nice too.
Yeah, I was like, he's a hockey player, so like he's hot and he's loaded, and he actually like does stuff with you, like
yeah. But like, did you think like it was like interesting how she never shared her horror like stories with him?
Yeah, she's being dumb.
Yeah, she was being dumb. Thank you.
Was like, yeah, this is only for Sam who ignores me, so like I love him, and I was like,
yeah.
Just do it with Mason. Like, he's a cutie pie.
But then we wouldn't have a book.
Then we wouldn't have a book.
Yeah, all of this, we wouldn't have a book. Yeah, I think it was very, like, I'm like, you're trying to make it a way more special thing than it is. Like, only Sam reads my horror stories. It's like, okay, and how are you supposed to be, like, an author if, like, nobody reads your shit?
If you only
it's true.
Yeah.
No, and, like, what did you guys think of the fact that like she gave up writing after him?
Dumb.
I mean,
it was dumb, right? Okay, thank you.
I mean, especially because like, if it was going to be that serious, then her and Sam should have been literally growing up together since they were like babies. Because like she was like 13, like she already had her interests. She already had her writing, her horror stories and her horror movies, that it's like, how is it that after the fact you can't watch another horror movie because you used to watch those with Sam, but like you had already years of your life already watching those movies, you know what I mean? Like it was just something it would have made more sense if she like discovered horror and that genre and writing through Sam, and then like now it's like tarnished because like
I think that would have made
more sense because it's like, well, if that's what you want to do and if that's something that was your passion even before you met him, like why are you stopping that?
Yeah.
And what did you think of Sam buying all the horror movies and like not watching them?
A waste of money.
Like
for what?
You won't even respond to her emails, but you're buying her all these horror movies. I don't understand.
Yeah, I was just like, that's interesting. Like, that's a choice.
I was not a fan.
Yeah, I think overall, like, this whole book could have been exactly the same, but if Sam was, like, rewritten and characterized, like, a little bit differently, I think it would have been, like, way stronger of a book.
For sure.
Because I think even with like the annoying plot points and like things that were kind of like like I think if Sam was just like more fleshed out and like a lot stronger of a character, I think it would have been like, oh, this is like a fantastic book.
And like Sam also didn't have any other interests other than medicine, which was weird.
He ran.
He ran, but that was for his heart. He ran for his heart. He didn't run for anything else.
That's
and
true.
Also, if he had like an actual like, from the medical perspective, like if the father, like what it sounded like the father had was like something called like hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, and like by running he was making his heart even weaker. So it was a bad idea.
He didn't even know, and then he boozed it up. So like he doesn't care about his heart anymore.
Yeah, no, that was his only interest. And like speaking as someone from medicine, no one I know like at that age was like,
read
I only
fun.
read medical textbooks.
Yeah.
That was so strange.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't even have like a weird dinosaur phase, which was like, I think would have been more realistic.
Like, yeah, but how is he supposed to use
he's
dinosaurs to
like
try to start fingering and making out with her in the bed? How is he supposed to utilize the dinosaurs for that? That part was weird too. I was like, I can't even like enjoy this like little nerdy like spicy moment. I was like, you're also using the ugliest muscle names. Like,
that's true.
I was like, this is.
And there's also words I didn't know. Like, I was like, what is he talking about?
He's making it up. He's a big faker.
He's a faker.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Alva asked, do you guys feel that Charlie was in the right to tell Sam before Percy?
I think he was just trying to give him like another kick in the ass. Like, come on. Yeah. Like, because you weren't paying attention to her, I slept with her.
I fucked her. Well, I mean, I think that's good because like that's your brother. Like, because this is just a girl. Percy's just a girl. You know what I mean? Like, this is your flesh and blood. This is your brother.
True.
So it's like you should say that. But like, I would have loved to know
didn't seem
how
like
that
their relationship like was affected by it. Like, at least like they didn't talk about like, oh, I didn't speak to him for like a year or 2 years or something.
Yeah, but I would love to have been a fly on that wall and known like how he said it and what he said. Because it's like that is something that's like horrible. But I mean, I think too, like I think that's something too is that Percy is just a very avoidant person, and you see that in like most of her relationships. Like she just avoids talking about and communicating things like altogether. That like after that mistake happened, I think it was very dumb of her to also like ignore Charlie. Like you guys need to you guys both got into this mess. Like you need to talk about it and be like, okay, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna tell Sam? Like, what's gonna happen? Like,
but I see that. I think that's the difference. You are someone, you have admittedly said that you are someone that's avoidant, hate confrontation, and like you would understand that like you have that responsibility at this point. You know, like being avoidant can only get you so far.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I don't like confrontation because like I'm scared and you're gonna be mad at me. But it's like if I do something wrong, like you have to say it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just live your life ignoring your wrongdoings. You know?
Like she had 13 years of penance, but like still, like, what the fuck. I also wanted to ask, did you think that there was any symbolism with Percy's name, because her real name is Persephone? Did you think that there was any symbolism, or do you think that she just liked the name Persephone?
I thought she was tarnishing the name of Persephone.
Yeah, I just thought that was like very like unnecessary. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's true. It's definitely
like
there was no
like
parallel
name.
I thought there would be some sort of parallel because her name was Persephone, and like I feel like I didn't get one. Maybe I just don't know the Persephone myth enough, but
yeah, no.
I've read enough retellings to know.
I've read enough Percy Jackson to know that she's not like Persephone.
I also thought it was a weird I thought it was weird that her name was Persephone and she went by Percy for a girl. Like, I don't know. I just thought
I thought
but like honestly, like wouldn't you go by something else? Like if like my parents called me Persephone, I'd be like, what kind of load of bullshit is this?
I'd feel like well, I mean, like go by a middle name. Just make a new name entirely, because
exactly
was strange.
Well, I think I've seen the people say purse. Like I think that one's like a pretty common nickname. Like Perse. I've seen that one.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, just messy altogether.
Yeah.
Are there any other like things you want to touch on, Nikki? Are you gonna ask something?
No, Tori, do you have something?
Nope.
Well, I have something. If Tori doesn't have anything, because Tori mentioned it a couple of like days ago of like the proposal.
Yeah.
Like, what did you guys think of it?
I literally hated it with every cell in my being. It was like it came out of nowhere. Like that was the last thing that I was ever expecting out of that scene, and I was like, So you just ignored her. You like said that you wanted space. You literally said that you wanted space. And then
Oh no, I'm talking about the proposal at the end, like the one in the epilogue.
Oh.
No, I know you hated that proposal that like he gave like randomly.
Yeah, okay. I didn't like it either. I didn't
then
like
she proposes. She proposes to him at the end.
Yeah, I didn't like the ending of this book, to be honest. I thought it was just weird.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like I felt like that was like I was like, yeah, checks out.
I got a little bit
like it checks out.
I got a little bit sentimental when they were like putting her ashes into like they were distributing them in the lake.
I will say, because the proposal happens in the epilogue, right? It's
yeah.
in the epilogue. I actually liked the epilogue because like there was a point where she like mentions in the epilogue about how her and Sam are like still working things out. And like how they're like working to trust each other, and she's working to like still feel like she's like deserving of his love and stuff like that. So like I liked that part of it where it was like, okay, like you learned something, and it wasn't just so like, I mean, it was very happily ever after, but it wasn't like, at least that little paragraph was mentioned that it's like not like those 13 years and all these betrayals are just like thrown out the window and forgotten about. And so like, I mean, I think the ending in general was weak, but I think like the epilogue made it a little bit like, okay, like that's nice,
I like felt like, now you mentioned this whole thing about like deserving him, because like that's like a very common theme throughout, and like it's like touches on her insecurity, but like why do you think she had this like whole thing of like, I just don't deserve him?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think like that's why I'm just very confused about like why she felt.
She put him on such a pedestal, like, and it just like yes, he was smart and everything like that, but like in no way ever did he make her like, he never acted in a way that was like, you're stupid. He really valued her thoughts and like input when it came to a lot of things.
I'm realizing that you guys have never chased after a boy that has just zero interest in you, and it's like,
no, Tori, yes, I have.
Like, what am I doing?
I have. No. I mean, Tori, you're talking the number one insecure girl in the world right now. But like the thing is though, it's like, yes, like that's really hurtful when like, but also I don't think though Sam was as like not into her or making it seem like that as you say, Tori. Like I think that like he wasn't making moves, but I think it was very obvious in the things that he was like saying and the actions that he liked her. I just think
because he had his own insecurities,
She needed to hear, and like I understand it. Like I think that she needed to hear from his own words, like, yeah, I do like you, because you guys are totally right. Like his actions were saying, I like you, I have feelings for you. And that's why she was getting like kind of, he was like stringing her along, to be honest. And she like needed that declaration of, yes, I really like you and I want to be in a relationship with you. And that's what she was trying to do. Like I think at New Year's, and then also when she told him through email that she had like this other guy that she was seeing, and he was like, oh, like, is it serious or whatever? And she's like, well, I kind of like someone else. And he goes like, okay, or whatever. It was a very like answer.
Yeah,
and
that was super annoying.
She really started to question her self-worth, because she's like, I like this guy so much, and he's like stringing me along, and he's not telling me that he likes me. So maybe he doesn't think I'm good enough. Maybe, and that's when she started going in that like spiral of thoughts.
Yeah. I just think there's like a lot of layers to it, because I feel like also too, like when you're like, I've been in a situation where like I have liked my friend, and it's been like that, like, and I would be terrified to tell my best friend like I have feelings for you, you know what I mean? Because it's like that changes a whole dynamic. And like if like you can think like, oh yeah, like, well, I think he likes me and like his actions are showing that, but it's like, does he like you like that, or like is it only because you're best friends? And especially like when you're young like that, like I think they were so young that by the time that they like finally were like, okay, we're gonna kind of like explore this in a more like romantic way. Like I think then by that point, that whole insecurity and like, oh, I'm not worthy of him, like that should be thrown out the window, because to me, then that's when you're proving like, I've liked you this whole time and I've been into you this whole time. I was just scared. I was nervous. I didn't want to lose you as a friend. I didn't know what would happen. Like, there's also too, they don't live together the entire rest of the year. You know what I mean? They're only together in those summers. That, like, to me as like a 14, 15-year-old, that makes a lot of sense to me, to be like nervous, to like want to like change that kind of dynamic with your best friend, especially when you don't live with them all the time. You know what I mean? So I mean, I think it's just like very multi-layered, like type of thing. But I just think like that can't be like the only reason why she's so feeling like she's undeserving of love. You know
she
what I
mentions
mean?
it's like his intelligence as well that like really makes her feel inferior. And like how like even in, like when he does his like he was a valedictorian and all this sort of thing, and like he mentions in the letter to her how like he felt like she would put him on a pedestal, and then when he finally went to university to do med school, like he was like realizing that he was like a big fish in a small pond, and then when he went to this university he was a small fish in a big pond, and like he had to like kind of play catch up. And like I don't know, like I guess like also like from my perspective of being a med student, like I understand what that's like, and like I've also like experienced that sort of thing, and like I've also experienced like liking someone and all that, but I will say that I do tell the person pretty early on because I can't waste my time.
Not me. I'm a Percy. I literally will just ride that shit out until the day I die. And I'll be like, I'm not saying anything.
She told him. Like,
she told him.
It's not like she
like
was,
you like she literally said like 2 + 2, and then she's just waiting for him to say 4. You know?
Yeah.
And
I think like when he went to that early acceptance program, I think she really started questioning, did he only like me because of like convenience type thing?
Yeah.
Which is another, blow to her self-esteem, I think.
Oh, no, 100%. I mean, I think the way that he like acted in that, like I would 100% be like, you are a liar and you've never liked me and I hate you. Like, you know what I mean? Like I would have literally like been like, absolutely not. I don't know. I just think like 13 years later, though, by the time you're almost 30 years old, like
they were 30. They were 30,
or like when you're 30 years old and like you've been through all of these other relationships and you've grown up.
The thing is, she never had any other relationship that was meaningful. I think it would have been much better as like from like a like maybe she had like maybe like one relationship that lasted more than 6 months, and that she liked the person, but she never felt like she could be truly herself, which is like that's different than like literally like everyone telling her that like she doesn't go past surface level with them. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just I feel like there's so many like
problems with this book. I'm really excited. On that note, like I'm pretty excited for the next book, because I think the next book is going to give us so much to talk about, because there's so many characters. There's like 5 different POVs, 6 different POVs. And it's like a fantasy book, and it's just so different. Like I think you're really going to like it.
I feel like the cast of characters for the Atlas 6 reminds me of Six of Crows. Like at first I was a little bit nervous with like a huge cast of characters, like a big group, but it's actually really fun.
It's been like a fun experience. It's slow, but you guys will like it, I think. And everyone that's joining like the book club will like it as well.
No, I'm excited to read it, and just I think it'll be a very like interesting live show, because I think there's going to be like a lot, because I've already seen a lot of mixed reviews and I'm a little stressed about it. It's fine. I can save my brain cells for that. But on that note, for the Atlas 6, that live show is going to be on October 2nd. We have not yet decided, I don't think, unless we're doing the same time, what time it's going to be. But we will update you guys in the Discord and on our Instagrams.
I'll be in Nashville.
Oh yeah, she'll be in Nashville with me when we do that live show. So it's going to be on Nikki's channel again on October 2nd. But make sure you check out Nikki and Tori's channels, their Instagrams, and our Discord for more information on all that, and then to read it with us. But yeah, I think that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do you guys have any last minute things you want to mention? Say anything?
Thanks for
Well,
hosting
thanks,
this
everyone.
show, and thanks for joining, everyone.
Oh my God, yes. Thank you
And
guys.
thank you, Sarah.
Oh my God, of course. And we will just chat later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.